I think that's what even without color, you could probably convey that. Mm-hmm. But again, how do you do the next step, which is fire? I think you just need to rely on the colorist, and I hate having to rely on the colorist for anything. I like to try to do as much as I can in-house, as it were. But yeah, that might be me calling the colorist and be like, "Can you help me? I can't draw fire and water at the same time."
You don't have to feel sad about it. It's a team sport here.
I know. I try to be old school, and I just hate. Yeah, even like rain effects. I just try to draw it with actually drawing lines and not have the colorist go in with a layer of water. Only one time I had to do that in Tokyo Ghost, and I hated it. I didn't like that Matt had to do it. I felt stupid that I forgot. Blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
know artists do it all the time.
The last chapter of Bloody Hell is there's a lot of rain. There's a lot of rain, and I did 98% of it in on myself.
Yeah.
And Russ, my colorist, I think threw a bit in there on top, just like layering wise for when he was doing his colors. But I sent him an email at some point. I was just asking him how it was going. He's like, "It's good. It's there's a lot of rain in these pages." I'm like, "Yep, yep, that's what it was like."
Yeah, for them, they probably prefer. Dude, can you not just draw the rain on top of everything? Can you just let me? It's gonna take me 2 seconds. Seriously, like I know that you're all punk rock and hardcore, and you like to do it old school or whatever. But seriously, man, I don't want to be here another 8 hours rendering around your fucking raindrops.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime you start putting splashes on stuff, that's like minute detail that needs to be attended to.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a pain in the ass, but it looks good when it's all said and done.
It's it's hard to color people like you and me because we work against a colorist, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like normally you close your shapes. If you're drawing a guy's hand, you don't leave open lines. You don't break the surrounding line. You close them. So the colorist can select the hand shape and fill it in with skin color. And some special effects or ripple effects, whatever they are just better off left to the colorist. I get that there are color-friendly artists in comics, and I know I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
So either people love working with me or they hate it because it's like, God, Sean didn't leave me anything fun. There's no big open shapes for me to render. Sean scribbles in everything. Like all I'm doing is flatting here, basically, because Sean did most of the rendering that the pants and the legs need or whatever it is,
Yeah, there's an interesting variation of that stuff in Bloody Hell actually, because there's some stuff that requires a lot of fine-tuned detail, and then there's a few panels where it's like a long shot of a boat in the water surrounded by fog and like the suggestion of a mountain, and it's all atmospherics, and Russ just like when I drew that stuff, I was like, there's a possibility this isn't going to work, and then he knocked it out of the park. He made it all look fantastic. Yeah,
that's hard, leaving stuff open and hoping the colorist can make it work.
Yeah, he did a great job.
It's like letting go of the steering wheel and letting them drive, which it's hard for me to do.
Yeah,
but I'm glad that Russ. Yeah, what I saw of his pages looks really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finally seeing it all together in one place.
There's this colorist in There's this colorist in South America named Marte Gracia. I think he's in Brazil. And super talented colorist. He did Marvel stuff, and he's one of the colorists that his style just jumps out at me because he renders the fuck out of clothing and wrinkles and stuff. Like he just finds shapes, and it's just amazing. And I asked him once to color. I was doing the Wolverine ABCs, I drew. I think it was like the letter W or something, where I drew Sabretooth, Logan, and Maverick, and I love his stuff, but seeing it on my stuff, it just didn't work as right because I render all my own wrinkles and clothes. Like there's nothing. The thing that I like about his art, I didn't allow him to do by the nature of how I draw.
Yeah.
But there's one elbow or kneecap that I didn't draw a lot of rendering on, and he rendered the fuck out of that because that's where he finally I get to do my thing. But I imagine he was kind of bummed out when he realized coloring me wouldn't allow him to do his shtick, as it were.
Yeah. It's always interesting to see how certain colorists work better or worse on different artists and whatnot, because it takes more consideration than I think a lot of people really give it credit for.
Oh yeah.
Matching.
It can make or break what you did too.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
In a way, you want it to be like it should feel like the camera. The mentality when you're shooting a movie, you don't want people to be aware of the camera. If they're not aware of the camera, then you've done your job. So in the colorists, I've heard them say that too. If you're too focused on colors, then they haven't done their job. It shouldn't even stand out. It should just tell the story, and you shouldn't make a giant impact per se.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. I've had to learn to let it go a little bit when it comes to colors over the years, because I don't know if you think this way, but when I'm sure you do, because we both work in black and white, but like I'm not necessarily thinking about color as I'm doing it. I'm more focused on I'm thinking about the coloring process. Like I know that's going to happen, but I'm not super thinking about like palette choices and stuff, because I'm drawing for black and white. Black and white is the way that I prefer it to look. And so early on when I was working, I would get these colors back and I would just be like, oh, this is not what I like. This is, I don't know what I was thinking about, but it's not this. And there's a certain level of control you do have to let go of, where it's like, okay, I mean, it looks good. It's not what I was thinking, but it works. So let's just go with it. The black and white version is going to be my version. The color version is going to be everybody else's.
Yeah, I do try to think about that stuff. Like, if I'm drawing fire in a forest, you've got red and green, which can be, if you're not careful, it could look like Christmas colors. Or you have a character who's in red and he's against the green background. I'll try to be aware, like, all right, if I put his shoulder pad in the camera, half of this panel is going to be red, and everything in the background is going to be green. So I should either show more of his shoulder and less of the green, or the other way. Like, I try to be aware of what colors are going to be touching which spots. And there's no way to do it perfectly. Like, you're going to have color conflicts. But I do try to be aware to make the colorist's job easier. So he's like, man, you drew a green character right in front of the green tree in the background. Like, why couldn't you move him over in front of the brown building so the greens wouldn't clash, you know?
Yeah, well, that's why you put enough lighting on him that you can be like, well, maybe there's like a blue light coming in from the side that's going to change the color of that green to a little bit more, you know.
Yeah.